Alright guys, so today I got my fishing pole, I got my bug out bag, and we're gonna do some scouting to see if I need to leave my property, where I'd go. Alright guys, another key thing to survival is food. So, got my fishing stuff, I got a pack, and see if we can catch some fish. So with this being in survival mode, I'm not really worried about catching a certain type of fish. I just need to catch a fish. And so, I got worms, and I think that's my best bet right now, is right off the bat, jump in with the worm, and kind of see what kind of mess with that, because you can pretty much catch anything with a worm that you can eat. So let's see what a worm does. I got a float on it, little bobber. I'm not really sure how deep this is, but it's gonna be good enough to catch something. Alright, so that's not going too well. So I put on a top water popper thing. So I'm going to come over here and see if I can't get in here, see if there's any bass or anything of that nature, and see if I have some better luck. I think this spot's a little too sketchy with all these little trees sticking up, little plants. So I'm gonna go right around the corner over there, and I think I might have a better chance. All right, as I was walking around, I saw this side over here, and there are a bunch of ducks in here, which you probably just saw. So maybe they were trying to get some fish. I'll throw it in here, see if I have any better luck. It looks a little bit deeper on this side. The good thing about fishing like this, you can easily sit down, throw it out, put a worm on there to float. You're not burning any energy, so it's an easy way to catch some food without burning a lot of your energy, because you don't know when your next meal is gonna be in a real survival situation. Alright guys, so I'm gonna leave my pole right there, and as you can see, the bobber's out there. I put a worm on it, but I am out here in the woods, and so I'm gonna kind of scout a little bit and kind of see the best place that, if I did have to come out here and bug out, where I could put my tent and kind of camp area that's a little bit away, but also close enough that I'm not walking real far to hopefully come get some food if I can catch some fish. So let's go ahead and go through this trail, and then unfortunately there is a trail, hopefully more of animals than people, but in a bug out situation, this is, if I had to leave my area, this is where I'd go. So let's just go check it out and see, you know, what there really is. That's just the whole point of coming out here right now before it does hit the fan, scout it out. So the main things I'm looking for are tracks. Is it more of animal tracks, or is it more of people coming through here? Because if it's people, then that's not very good for me to bug out. So of course I don't really know the area, it's just one of those things. But I want to be, you know, far enough up somewhere that if it rains, the rain will go down and not flood my tent. But I also want to be close enough to the lake that if I have my freedom stick, animals have to come down and get water. So, you know, it brings them down here also. But then predators also need water. So it's one of those things you kind of just have to, you know, it's a double-edged sword, I guess. So I'm just gonna keep looking around for a little bit, see if I can't find a little flat spot kind of close to the lake here, and I'll let you guys know. Found a little turtle shell, pretty cool. If you had to use it, it's cool just to have, but if you had to utilize it to dig or whatever, you could. So I'll probably just throw this in my bag, keep it. It's a cool thing, but you can also use it if you need it for something. Alright, so we're not too far from the lake here, and I found the spot right up here. It's fairly flat, so I can easily set up a tent here, probably most likely right up there in those trees, like in the middle of that, because it's already kind of like a lean-to, and then I just pile stuff around it, kind of camouflage me from anyone coming up, and then also it'll kind of give me some more shelter if it does rain. It'll hit that first, so kind of a cool spot. So I guess we can check that out and kind of look at there. So again, it is just a really small little 3-person tent. It'd be enough for me to get my sleeping bag and some of my belongings, but it would easily fit like underneath this little area in here. I could even break this part off, put it right there, and I'd have a whole canopy area, and then I could put sticks and stuff all the way around me, and it'd block predators and all that stuff like I said. But this would be a really good spot. So the only bad thing is it is a tree that's fallen over, so probably raccoons and whatnot living in there, but I'd rather deal with raccoons than people when it comes to you know, shortage of food and whatnot in the city. So again, this is just a little bug out area for me. If I had to leave my spot where I'm at, you know, my property, where my build my little cabin and tent and stuff. But for now, I guess let's go back. And now that I know that, let's check out some more fishing, because food is a huge priority. I already have shelter with the tent, so see if we can't catch some fish in this little pond. The cool thing out here, there's geese and stuff that flying in, and ducks. So worst case scenario, if it came down to it, I wouldn't do it out of season or anything like that, even fish. But there's geese that you can get around here, there's duck, there's fish, maybe fish if we can catch any. But there's a lot of food around here, and then it just, I'm sure, deer and rabbits and raccoons and everything all out in the woods. And I'm just surrounded by a lake, and then woods, and then another part of the lake over there, and woods out there. So this is a really, really good spot for survival. I wouldn't have a problem killing anything out of season if it came down to it. I wouldn't do it unless it came down to it's one of those super survival modes. So don't think that I would go and break laws or whatever just to do it right now, just to do it for a video, because I wouldn't. But if it did come down to it, this is a really, really good spot to be in a survival situation, I think, for being in an area I'm not really too familiar with. So I'm really good where I'm at up on my property, but if I had to leave, I feel pretty confident to survive out here on my own. So I think this is a good spot that I found out here, and it would really, really benefit me if it came down to it. So this little bobber sucks. It's already full of water. Sank right to the bottom. Let's try a different one, I guess. Alright guys, I didn't want to give you too much of my location where I'm at, but I did want y'all to know if I did need a bug out, I could. I am far from my family, and I have just figured out that being by myself is probably the best thing to do, because they don't have to worry about anyone else. There's only a very small handful of people that I would really bug out with that I think could be a really good, you know, tool for me to have, having an extra person. But a lot of them have families like Dutch and Daniel and Kevin and all them, and I can go over there, but then I'm a burden on them. So I just figured, go out on my own, do what I need to do, come scout it, and if I have to bug out, I can figure it out and do it on my own, and that's less food I have to catch. And as you saw today, fishing wasn't that great, but I do have stuff in my bag, in my truck. I'd have to drive to where I'm going and then walk way in so they wouldn't find me, and I would try to like hide my truck as much as possible. But I have a tent and food and water and, you know, survival kits and stuff like that, so this pole can break down. So I'm gonna go ahead and head out of here, and you know, just know that I feel confident if I had to come out here, I could, and that's a very, very good thing to think about and know about in a weird situation of survival mode if it did come down to that.